Hey everybody, I'm Jen, and I'm going to talk to you about another bean that's been mentioned a few times today, and that is the soybean, or a product made from soybean, and that's tofu. So to start off, what is tofu made from? Soybean, and the great thing about soybean is it's one of the few ingredients in the world, in the plant-based world, that is a complete protein, meaning it has all those amino acids that our body does not make for itself. So it is a great thing for anybody to add to their diet. So we don't normally think about eating the soybean unless it's the edamame that we get at the Japanese at Japanese restaurant, or the regular edamame. And what edamame is actually the young soybean, so it's picked when it's green and it's sweet. A lot of things that we do see today are made with the mature soybean. So they're easy to find. You can get them canned or dried. Dilip showed some earlier, some dried soybean that he uses to make his soy milk with. But once soybeans are cooked, they can be used in almost any recipe that you would use beans in. It's very versatile. So that's the soybean. So now let's talk about the tofu, which is the product that can be a little bit intimidating to people that have not used it before. So tofu is actually made from the mature soybean. They make a milk. It's much like the cheese process. So they take soy milk, they add a coagulant to it, and it curdles, and it's pressed, and it's made into soybeans. So I was a little afraid of tofu when I first started eating it. It comes in this really mysterious package. It's got a lot of water in there. But then I started to cook with it, and I found out how easy it is to cook with, and what a great thing it is, because the flavor profile is pretty much a clean slate. So you can flavor it up into anything that you want it to taste like. And it's a great replacement for meat products. It does come in two different types of tofu. So we have the silken tofu, which is very creamy. It's often called Japanese tofu. It's very smooth, and it's great for using in sauces, puddings, dips, purees. It's a wonderful, wonderful product. And then there's what they call the regular tofu, which is a pressed tofu. It usually comes in these water packed packages in the grocery store, which is my next thing. We're going to talk about the different packaging. So we have the water packed packages, and then the shelf stable packages. They all the varieties come with a different level of meatiness, I guess you might want to say. So the silken comes in soft, firm, extra firm, and the regular also comes in soft, firm, extra firm, as well as a super firm. The difference between the different levels is the amount of water that is pressed out during the processing. So the super firm has the most water pressed out. It's very dense and meaty, and it's great for grilling, sauteing tofu, or marinating, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The extra firm and the firm are also good for that. The silken or soft variety of the pressed regular tofu is also great for the purees and things that we talked about earlier with the silken. So for newbies, though, I recommend you start with the regular or the firm, extra firm tofu. It's easier to work with, and it's easier to work with. So I wanted to show you what it looked like and what you do with these weird packages that you get at the grocery store. So this is full of water, and what I did was I cut it open, and I'm going to drain the water out. I'll show you what the tofu looks like. So this is the extra firm tofu, which I use all the time. So most recipes call for you to press it. So what I'll do is take a towel. You can also take a paper towel, and you just wrap the tofu in the towel, and you put it on a plate. And then I'll put another plate on top and put a can on top to weight it down, and that is pressing tofu. And it's a great thing to do. Let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. So I usually do that while I'm prepping the other ingredients for my recipes, and then it's all ready to go. So what I have is a few things that I have made, pre-made, with the tofu that I want to show you. You can go from appetizers to dessert. Tofu will fit in your menu, in any part of your menu that you can do. We have, what I started with was I made a ranch dip. This is a great for your vegetable tray at a party. I challenge any of your friends to guess that it is made with tofu. Now I made this with the soft or silken water packed packages, and you just throw it in the blender, blend it up with the food ingredients, and you've got a great dip. If you want to turn this into a salad dressing, all you have to do is add a little bit of soy milk to it, thin it down, and then you can drizzle it on your salads. Ranch dressing is a super popular thing in the United States, I've noticed. So that is the appetizer portion. Now your soup portion of the meal, I made miso soup. Now some people have mentioned miso before, which is a fermented soy product, and I used in these shelf-stable packagings. I use the extra firm, and when you boil it in water, it makes it a little bit firmer even. But when you get miso soup in the Japanese restaurant, it usually has the silken tofu in there, and you don't have to add seaweed to it if you're a little weird with seaweed. I added a little bit of kale to this one, makes it taste great. Okay, the next thing I made, and I did this with the firm tofu. Now you can do the extra firm with this one, and pressed it out the water, and I made this breakfast, well, I call it a breakfast scramble, but it's really an anytime scramble. It's more like a vegetable hash. You just saute your vegetables up, crumble in your tofu, add a little turmeric to give it that egg color, so it looks like scrambled eggs in there, plus it adds a lot of antioxidants to it. And this is great for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Throw it in a burrito, put it in the freezer. You have an easy grab and go meal. And for a salad portion here, this is baked tofu. So I took the super firm in this case, and I diced it up and marinated it, much like people marinate their meat for dinner. Just let it sit in a marinade for a while, and then I baked it in the oven, cubed it up, baked it in the oven, and I just tossed it on top of a salad. But you can make it into slabs, serve it as a portion, make barbecue with it, make a sandwich. That's great. And so last, but certainly not the least, you can have your tofu and dessert too. So this is the chocolate mousse that I made, and it's made with the soft tofu. And all I did was blend it up, added a little espresso powder to make it a mocha flavor, and of course cocoa powder. And the only sweetener in here is date paste, which is you can make by just pureeing some dates with water. You put it in the refrigerator, it firms up like a pudding. You can see how solid it is. It's holding those strawberries on there. So there are so many tofu recipes out there. It's a dish that I love. I don't want you to be intimidated by it at all. Give it a try. And the recipes for this will be attached to this, this video, and you can get those after the show.